Hey there and welcome. If you're someone who just loves the idea of a gorgeous, productive garden, but, could do with a little less work, you are in exactly the right place. Today we're going to dive into a really powerful but simple technique that can totally transform your soil and honestly make gardening so much more joyful. So let's dig in and see how we can get nature to do the heavy lifting for us. So does this sound familiar? You spend hours and hours turning over the soil, pulling up those stubborn weeds, and then, by the middle of summer, it just feels like you're fighting a losing battle. It's such a common frustration, and believe me, I have been there. But what I've learned is that the solution isn't about working harder, it's about gardening smarter.
I know, it sounds completely backward, doesn't it? To solve the problem of all these unwanted plants, we're going to plant more plants? But you gotta stick with me here, because that is exactly the secret. It is all about recruiting the right kind of plants, a whole team of little helpers that work for you, even when you're not out in the garden.
And that brings us to our star player for today, the cover crop. Now, this is not just some technique for massive farms. Oh no, it is an absolute game changer for home gardens, and it's the key to building incredible soil without all that backbreaking work.
So, what in the world is a cover crop? Well, to put it simply, it's a plant you grow specifically for the soil's benefit, not for your dinner table. I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. It's like a living blanket. Instead of leaving your precious soil bare and exposed to wind and rain, a cover crop just tucks it in, keeping it safe and sound. And that blanket does so much more. Cover crops are the ultimate multitaskers. They stop your precious topsoil from washing away in a heavy rain. Their roots dig down deep, adding organic matter and improving something called soil tilth, which basically just means making it light and fluffy. They literally outcompete and smother weeds for you. They scavenge for nutrients that might otherwise just wash away, and they hold on to them for your future plants. And on top of all that, they create this wonderful little habitat for all the good guys, from earthworms to pollinators. It's a total powerhouse of benefits.
Okay, so you're ready to hire some of these little helpers for your own garden, but which ones do you pick? Well, it's actually pretty simple. We can break them all down into three main families, or as I like to call them, the plant power teams.
First up, you've got the grasses, like cereal rye and oats. Think of these as the builders. They produce a huge amount of biomass. That's all the leaves and stems, which creates a really thick, long-lasting mulch. Then you have the legumes, things like clover and vetch. These are the fertilizers. They have this amazing, almost magical ability to pull nitrogen right out of the air and store it in your soil for free. And finally, you have the broadleaves, which is a really diverse group, including things like fast-growing buckwheat or those tough tillage radishes. They're fantastic for quickly covering the ground or for drilling down to break up hard, compacted soil.
So, a grass for mulch, a legume for nitrogen, a broadleaf for weed control? It seems like a tough choice. But this is where the real magic happens. What if you could have it all? What if you didn't have to choose?
This is where you see the true power of teamwork. Instead of just picking one, the pros mix them all together. They'll combine the heavy-duty mulching power of a grass with the nitrogen-fixing magic of a legume. And what you get is the absolute best of both worlds, a thick, weed-suppressing mulch that is also feeding your soil. And, it's not just a hunch. Studies have actually shown that these kinds of mixtures often create more plant matter and provide a more balanced diet for the soil than any single plant ever could on its own.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? Let's break it down into two super simple paths you can take, whether you're starting today or maybe planning for the fall.
All right, let's start with the quickest and easiest way to see the benefits of cover cropping. This one is absolutely perfect if you have a garden bed that's going to be empty for just a month or two in the summer. Meet your new best friend for the summer, buckwheat. It grows unbelievably fast, and just look at those beautiful, delicate white flowers. It can turn an empty, sad patch of dirt into this beautiful, productive space in practically no time.
This is really why buckwheat is the perfect beginner's cover crop. It goes from seed to flower in as little as 6 weeks. It creates this dense canopy that just smothers out weeds. Plus, its flowers are an absolute magnet for beneficial insects, the bees and other pollinators that will help out your other plants. And all the while, its fine, fibrous root system is gently loosening and conditioning your topsoil. It's a win-win-win.
Now, let's talk about our second path. This one takes a little bit more planning, but oh my, it delivers an even bigger reward. This is all about putting your garden to work over the fall and winter so that it's perfectly prepped and ready for you in the spring. So this builds perfectly on what we were just talking about with the mixes.
A typical overwintering seed mix is a power team. You'll have grasses like oats and rye for that thick, protective winter blanket. You'll have legumes like vetch and clover in there, fixing nitrogen. And you might even have broadleaves like radishes to drill down and break up any compacted soil. It's basically a complete soil-building kit all in one bag.
And the plan is just wonderfully simple. After you pull out your last tomatoes and squash in the fall, you just scatter the seed mix. The plants will sprout, put on a little bit of growth before winter really sets in, and then all winter long they act as that living blanket protecting your soil from all that harsh weather. Then, come spring, you have this beautiful, lush green carpet just waiting to be transformed.
And that, my friends, brings us to the payoff. After a whole season of just letting nature do the hard work for you, what does your garden actually look like? What have you accomplished?
Well, you don't have to till it all under. Nope. In a no-till system, you just knock the cover crop down. You can mow it or use a special tool, but the idea is that the flattened plants die right there in place, forming a thick, natural mat of mulch exactly where you need it.
And here it is, the final result. You get a perfect, ready-made mulch that's going to suppress weeds, hold in moisture, and feed the soil biology all season long. You can plant your little vegetable seedlings directly into this mulch. So that means no tilling, way less weeding, and incredibly fertile soil. You've worked with the system, not against it.
You know, this is the big shift. When you start using cover crops, you stop thinking of yourself as just a gardener who's out there fighting weeds and digging in the dirt. You become a soil builder, an ecosystem creator. You're actually partnering with nature to create a healthier, more resilient, and way more abundant garden.
So whether you start with just a small patch of buckwheat this summer, or you plan for a powerhouse mix this fall, please remember this: you don't have to do it all at once. Every single seed you plant is a step toward a healthier garden, a deeper connection with nature, and really the simple, profound joy of just watching things grow.